The First Battle of Kiev, 1941, the greatest encirclement in the history of warfare. Introduction: the beginning of a colossal tragedy. The First Battle of Kiev stands as one of the most decisive and catastrophic episodes in modern military history. In German military terminology, it is known as the Erste Kesselschlacht von Kiev, the First Cauldron Battle of Kiev. In Soviet historiography, it is referred to as the Kiev Defensive Operation, or Kievskaya Оборонительная Операция. The battle unfolded between August 7th and September 26, 1941, as a major component of Operation Barbarossa, the Axis invasion of the Soviet Union. Measured by the sheer number of troops involved, the First Battle of Kiev is often regarded as the largest battle in the history of warfare. More than 3 million soldiers from both sides were directly or indirectly engaged. The outcome was catastrophic for the Red Army, the near-total destruction of the Soviet Southwestern Front and the capture of hundreds of thousands of Soviet troops, an unprecedented military disaster in the opening phase of World War II. Strategic background. On June 22, 1941, Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest land invasion ever attempted. Adolf Hitler and the German High Command believed that the Soviet Union could be defeated in a short, decisive campaign before winter arrived. To achieve this, German forces were divided into 3 main army groups. Army Group North, advancing towards Leningrad. Army Group Center, advancing towards Moscow. Army Group South, advancing into Ukraine and towards the Caucasus. Ukraine held immense strategic value. It was the agricultural heartland of the Soviet Union, a major grain-producing region, and the gateway to the oil fields of the Caucasus. Hitler was personally obsessed with capturing Ukraine, viewing it as essential to Germany's long-term economic and military survival, even if that meant delaying the advance on Moscow. The Soviet Southwestern Front. The defense of Ukraine fell to the Soviet Southwestern Front, commanded by General Mikhail Kirponos. Under his command were 4 major armies, the 5th, 6th, 12th, and 26th Armies. On paper, Soviet forces in this sector were numerically superior to the German troops facing them. However, this numerical advantage was undermined by critical weaknesses: poor coordination and command control, a shortage of experienced officers due to Stalin's pre-war purges, inadequate communications, and a rigid defensive doctrine unsuited to German mobile warfare, Blitzkrieg. Most critically, Joseph Stalin repeatedly forbade any large-scale withdrawal, even as the situation on the ground became increasingly dangerous. July 1941, the situation deteriorates. By early July 1941, following the rapid advance of Army Group Center in the central sector of the Eastern Front, a massive salient began to form around Kiev at the junction between Army Group Center and Army Group South. This protrusion extended far westward, creating a highly vulnerable position for Soviet forces. On July 7th through 8th, 1941, German forces broke through the Stalin Line, an outdated Soviet defensive system built along the pre-1939 borders. The breakthrough occurred in southeastern Zhytomyr Oblast, shattering Soviet defensive cohesion in western Ukraine. German armored formations, particularly Panzer Group 1, commanded by General Ewald von Kleist, exploited the breach with speed and precision, pushing eastward and southward while Soviet units struggled to regroup. The German strategic debate: Moscow or Kiev? By August 1941, a major strategic debate erupted within the German High Command. General Franz Halder and many officers of the Army High Command, OKH, argued that the decisive objective should be Moscow, with Army Group Center pressing forward without delay. Hitler disagreed. He feared the large concentration of Soviet forces in Ukraine posed a threat to the German southern flank. He therefore ordered a dramatic shift in strategy. Panzer Group 2, under General Heinz Guderian, was diverted southward from Army Group Center to assist in the encirclement of Kiev. This decision would prove decisive in shaping the outcome of the First Battle of Kiev. The Encirclement, August-September 1941. By late August 1941, two powerful armored spearheads were converging. From the north, Panzer Group 2 Guderian, from the south, Panzer Group 1 von Kleist. On September 16, 1941, the two panzer groups linked up near the town of Lochvitsa, sealing an enormous encirclement around Kiev. More than 600,000 Soviet troops were trapped within what became one of the largest encirclement battles, Kesselschlacht, in military history. Despite being surrounded, many Soviet units fought with extraordinary determination. Numerous breakout attempts were made, often under heavy fire and without air support. Most failed due to poor coordination, exhaustion, and overwhelming German firepower. The collapse of the Southwestern Front. On September 19, 1941, German forces captured the city of Kiev itself. However, fighting within the encirclement continued for several more days. General Kirponos was killed during an attempted breakout along with much of his staff. According to German records, approximately 665,000 Soviet soldiers were captured. Thousands of tanks, artillery pieces, and vehicles were destroyed or seized. The Soviet Southwestern Front effectively ceased to exist as a fighting force. This marked the single greatest defeat in the history of the Red Army, surpassing even the later disasters at Vyazma and Bryansk. Strategic and historical consequences. The German victory at Kiev delivered enormous short-term gains. Central Ukraine fell into German hands. The road to the Donbas industrial region and Crimea was opened. The Red Army lost an irreplaceable number of trained soldiers. However, the victory came at a strategic cost. The diversion of panzer forces southward delayed the German advance on Moscow, which did not resume until October 1941. This delay allowed the Soviets crucial time to reinforce the capital, mobilize reserves, and prepare defenses. Many historians, including David Glantz, John Erickson, and Antony Beevor, argue that while Kiev was the greatest tactical victory of the Wehrmacht, it may have contributed indirectly to Germany's ultimate failure to capture Moscow before the onset of winter. Conclusion. The First Battle of Kiev symbolizes the peak effectiveness of German Blitzkrieg in 1941, the structural weaknesses of the Red Army in the early stages of the war, and the immense human cost of industrialized total warfare on the Eastern Front. Beyond the statistics, Kiev represents a vast human tragedy, hundreds of thousands of soldiers killed, wounded, or captured. It was a bitter lesson for the Soviet Union, paid for in blood, but one that ultimately shaped the Red Army's transformation and eventual recovery in the later years of World War II.